It's me again. I have no capacity in my phone to do any pre-records right now until I empty all of my data off here. So I'm just doing a really quick impromptu live because it's the only way I can get this to work. And I just came across this newest edition of shenanigans going on in Massachusetts. And I just watched like 1 minute of it and decided that I need to say a couple things about this, okay? So I go back and forth with myself on, do I give this any of my attention or do I just ignore it? And I am having a crisis of consciousness of which to do and when. And most of the time I just say, nope, it's not worth my time. And every once in a while I say, I'm going to try again to try to get through to some of these people who I just don't know if this young lady, Alexa's room, is literally buying this information or if she doesn't care enough to do the actual research or if she's actually grifting off of it. She has actually returned my comments. I asked her to please have a conversation with me, and she basically told me, I will do on my platform what I want to, and you can do on your platform what you want to. She doesn't want to have an adult, mature, intellectual conversation with me about what the facts of the case are. Therefore, I have to lean more to the side that she is grifting, and she continues to make fun of something that is very serious that is happening in Canton, which is a direct result of all of the chaos that is happening in our world. Okay, and that's the part that really, really freaks me out, irritates me, makes me sad, makes me feel very helpless. I want to help. And I know that the wheels of justice move slowly. But man, I wish they could fast track some of this stuff because the truth really needs to come out about who Turtle Boy is. The problem is that it really has. A lot of people have brought attention to it. But not enough people either seem to give a shit about what kind of person Turtle Boy is, or they'll just look the other way because they claim that he's exposing corruption when in fact he's doing the exact opposite. He is the corruption. He is a very important cog in the wheel of this particular corruption. And as I've said before on a couple other streams of mine, this is one of the biggest frauds that I am aware of on the court in the history of the United States of America. And people are treating it like it's a fucking joke. And it really pisses me off because of all of the lives that it has both directly affected and indirectly affected. The directly affected lives are all of the friends and family who love John O'Keefe and support the O'Keefes, the Alberts, the McCabes, the Proctors, the Roberts, the niece and nephew, all of the children that are involved. There are so many lives that are directly affected by this. And as well as some of the people that have stepped up and are supporting the O'Keefes outwardly and are now potentially gagged by the court. I'm not really sure. I know Kate and Twisted Tragedies and Lindsay very much affected by this as well. I'm hoping that they're making some progress on what they are trying to accomplish. Turtle Boy continues to put out false information, and the fact that he is not in jail absolutely blows my mind. because he continues to degrade these families, to literally outwardly lie, knowingly lie about everything that he's putting out into the universe. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This city, in my very humble opinion, could very well be on the verge of riots, which will obviously directly affect a ton more people. And they are having a party, going out for supper, thinking it's a big joke, thinking that they're, I don't know, trying to do something good in the world. You are not contributing to anything positive in this world if you are believing any of the shit that comes out of Turtle Boy's mouth, which again, let me be clear, every bit of disinformation that comes from Turtle Boy comes directly from Karen Reed herself, okay? And it trickles down to all of these characters that you all, if you think that you're, above it because you don't buy into Turtle Boy's rhetoric because he's a disgusting human being, and so you disguise yourself by saying, well, I support attorney Melanie Little, so I listen to her because she's nice. Let me tell you, folks, she knows that Karen Reed is guilty. LTL Bryan knows she's guilty. Mike Crawford of the Young Jerks knows she's guilty. Mark Betterow knows she's guilty. Mazza Media knows she's guilty. All of these people that put themselves out there, the glarer. So you've got going through the motions. You've got people that are ex-DEA, ex-police officers, these Las Vegas police officers now that apparently come on the scene, and attorneys that are representing themselves as, their profession, which gives them more credence, which makes people trust them more because they have experience in the field of law or justice in some sort. And they are lying to you every day that they talk about Karen Reed and all of this bullshit that is happening. They are lying to you. They have committed fraud on the court. Both of her attorneys, all three of her attorneys have committed fraud on the court. All of the information that is coming out that is trying to prove Karen Reed's innocence is coming directly from Karen Reed's camp, directly from her to Turtle Boy, and then to all of these other little minions that disguise themselves as, oh, I'm a nice person. You're not allowed to cuss on my channel. I'm a nice person. We don't talk crap about other people in this channel. I'm a nice person. We're not going to pay any attention to any of that noise out there. You know why they're doing that? Because they don't want you exposed to the truth. And if you are a person that knows that she's guilty and is continuing to make money off of this grift, whether that be just by simply having a YouTube channel that people donate to, buy memberships to, super chat to, you're buying popcorn and shit to raise money for Karen Reed, to raise money for Turtle Boy. You are contributing to criminals. And all I can do is try to spread truth. And I guess that's it, because I know that there are a lot of people that know she's guilty, but continue to perpetuate this cycle of hatred in our society that is affecting our communities, your children, your grandchildren, anybody who looks up to you as a mentor. You're affecting all of the people that you love by perpetuating this cycle of hatred, this cycle of madness, trying to free innocent people, or trying to free guilty people, trying to portray very innocent, loving, great community members as guilty. Okay, all of these state witnesses that have been harassed for the last 2 years that Alexa's room is going to talk about here, and so many other people. Do you all understand how much hell these people have endured? When Turtle Boy and Meredith went out to eat in downtown Canton, this should be not allowed. I don't understand what the Massachusetts law is. First of all, you should not be able to make money off of your crimes, which I think that Massachusetts, as far as I understand, they don't have the Son of Sam law, which is really unfortunate, and I hope that they update their law to include that. But you bet your bottom dollar that once this is all said and done, I'm sure that there will be many more lawsuits. They are probably being advised. Turtle Boy doesn't have anything to take right now, because I'm sure that he is, continuing to, more than likely, in my humble opinion, probably perpetuate tax fraud and all sorts of other things, hiding money places, because from what I've been told is he makes like 40 grand a month off of his viewers donating money to him in super chats, memberships, donation drives for his legal fund. I mean, it's insane how much money is being funneled to two very corrupt and dangerous people. Turtle Boy is a danger. This is not journalism. Journalism, you're right, is not a crime, folks. But do you see any other journalists going on TV calling the mother of a murder victim a cunt? Telling the family of a murder victim that they should be grateful that their family member has passed away because they don't have to then deal with their disgusting family, meaning the family that's still alive. Accusing, straight out stating as fact that innocent people are guilty of murder. And how many times has the story changed? How many people are guilty of murdering their good friend and then putting him in his front yard, not yet passed away yet, and, just going home and allowing their friend to slowly die a tragic and awful death, knowing that that's what's happening to him. I mean, if this is really where our American society is right now, I'm having a crisis of consciousness trying to figure out, do these people actually believe this to be true? Or do they just not care about our society at all? And they are going to wreak havoc in a world that they will be leaving their children and grandchildren in to clean up the mess that they're making. I don't know which is worse. I don't know which it is. I think there's some in both camp. I do believe that there are still some people who think that she's innocent, and it blows my mind because that tells me that these people do not have the ability to think critically. They do not have the ability to search for the truth, nor the desire to search for the truth, because they need to find a place in the world more than they need to have integrity. And they have fallen into this cult-like thinking because it gives them an identity, it gives them friends, it gives them a community of people that, albeit many of the people that I've seen seem like very good people. But at the same time, they're not doing very good things. And some of them are doing downright awful things. And if all they're doing is going outside of the courthouse and holding a picket sign, that's fine. But I beg of you to do your own research. The fact that these witnesses have been absolutely abused and dragged through the mud for 2 years, and the fact that people are still making content, like we're going to watch just a little bit of this, just so that you have an idea of how funny this is to some people, okay? This is, like, it blows my mind, first of all, how the courts can't intervene more and actually get these people off the streets to stop this. But also how people can continue to do this and feel righteous indignation in doing so. It blows my mind. So let's just listen again. She apparently made almost 2 hours off of this rubber ducky article that apparently Turtle Boy wrote. And honestly, I'm not going to give it very much time because he is a POS if I have ever seen or heard of one. I am struggling trying to figure out how I can help combat this reign of terror. And the fact that people in that community don't seem to care what they're doing to their own community by continually supporting murderers and criminals and people who are willing to commit fraud on the court over and over and over again. I don't understand it. It blows my mind. I want to help. I want to figure out how to help. I don't know how to help except, speak on it on this very tiny platform that I have, because I have no idea how to help. I do know that people that have power are looking into this, and I really hope that justice comes faster than what it seems to be coming, because these people need to be protected. Their lives have already been through hell. Their relationships have been put through hell. Their businesses have been put through hell. Their college careers and athletic careers. Some of them have missed opportunities, big opportunities that young adults should never have to suffer the results of some lying ass POS criminals affecting their innocent lives because they are lying about them. It is beyond disgusting, and I beg anybody who can do something about this to do something about this. And I have called out Josh Levy over and over and over again, and I hope to God that somebody is looking into that man, because he deserves to go to prison as well. None of this would have been possible if he hadn't stuck his dirty ass nose into this business, which was none of his business to begin with. There was absolutely zero probable cause for him personally to question these innocent witnesses about bullshit that Karen Reed and Yannetti told him in a private meeting in his office. What evidence did you have, Josh Levy, that gave you any sort of probable cause that there was any sort of shenanigans going on? You literally used Turtle Boy News to question state's witnesses in a murder investigation. And again, Turtle Boy News came directly from Karen Reed. There was no journalism. There was no investigating journalism. There was nothing like that. Karen Reed literally fed Turtle Boy information to put out into the world disinformation, which means knowingly false. Misinformation means unknowingly false and just saying it with, disregard for whether or not it's true or naivety or something along those lines. But these people know that it is false, and that is illegal. So, why is this man not in prison, in jail, waiting his trial? Why is the information being used to take him to court not able to be brought out into Karen Reed's trial? They are so close, like they are intertwined. One could not exist without the other. I mean, Karen Reed would still be on trial for murder, but none of this bullshit conspiracy thing would exist without Turtle Boy. Unless they could find another person with absolutely zero integrity to report this shit, which I think and I hope would be impossible to find, because I hope that our American citizens do not act this way. This man has children, and he does not care what kind of legacy he leaves for his children. This is the type of man that all of you are believing, that actually believe in this shit.
A couple of months ago, back in April or May, according to Turtle Boy, when people started leaving rubber duckies around Canton with phrases that were written at the bottom of it, so like, Colin Albert did it, Colin was in the house, FKR for free Karen Reed, stuff like that. Just kind of like a harmless prank, I guess. I don't know how.
Harmless prank. Again, Chris Albert has been terrorized by y'all that are actually going to his place of work and picketing, saying things like blood pizza and standing outside of his employment and calling him a murderer. Now you're leaving rubber duckies saying that Colin Albert was in the house. Colin Albert did it. Once again, yes, that is defamation. It is lies. And everybody involved in doing that has to know it. I just cannot believe that people do not know that she's guilty yet. Like, literally, even if you don't think that the evidence came out in court well enough, all of the evidence was there. It was presented poorly. It was very convoluted. So I can go with you on it wasn't proven beyond a reasonable doubt. But to say that this woman is factually innocent at this point, to me, means that you literally have no ability to think critically. You are choosing to be completely naive about the situation, or you are downright a POS who just only cares about themselves and think of this as some high school popularity contest where you need to fit in with people as adults, that you need to find your place in the world so much that you are willing to crucify completely innocent people and ruin completely innocent people's lives and then laugh about it, make jokes about it, act like it's not something that's serious. Yes, leaving rubber duckies around Canton in and of itself, not a big deal. But when you know the context of what is happening, You cannot continue to hide behind naivete or ignorance or any of that shit. If you are participating in any of this, and that includes YouTube's, Twitter's, people putting out any of this fucking information into the world like it's a joke, like it doesn't affect people's real lives, it absolutely, obviously infuriates me, but it also makes me incredibly sad. Anger is actually an emotion that covers for sadness. It's a masking emotion. When I am angry, it is because I am so sad. This makes me sad. And you know what, folks? I don't know any of these people. It does not directly affect my life in any sort of way. If the city of Canton is set ablaze by riots, it will not affect my life in any sort of way. However, I am a human being who loves fellow human beings and any living creature for that matter. In fact, I love my animals more than I love most humans because animals do not act like this. If they are acting out, it is because they have not been given proper direction. They want to be pleasing. They want to be acting correctly. Humans make conscious choices to do this kind of immature, absolutely criminal behavior. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I hope to God that somebody in the federal government hears these outcries from those of us who see the bullshit and are calling out the bullshit, and they bring down some legislation to stop the nonsense on social media. I don't know how to do that. Again, it's like this crisis of consciousness of like, okay, we have free speech in America. We're able to say what we want. But what many of you don't know about that is it does not give you the right to just say whatever the fuck you want to say. You cannot just lie about somebody's involvement in a crime knowingly putting out this disinformation. And it is rampant on social media. I don't do social media. And the only reason I even got on YouTube was because of a couple criminal cases. I was actually involved in the Idaho 4, which was making me absolutely insane. And I was thinking about starting a YouTube channel, but I never did because I just kept thinking there has to be more to the situation. I don't want to start putting out content that could potentially hurt other families. I'm trying to wait until I can see something. So I just participated in other people's conversations respectfully. And then this shit with Karen Reed starts. And there was crickets in Idaho. So I decided to watch Karen Reed. Honestly, begrudgingly, I really didn't give a shit about her case at all. I didn't know much about it, and in fact I went into it thinking she was probably innocent based on the little bits and pieces of information that I heard, which now as soon as it started, I knew it was a bunch of bullshit. It was a PR campaign put on by the defense, and I keep preaching about this because I need American people to understand that innocence fraud is real. And until you are directly affected by it, you may not truly understand how real it is. But people like you, Alexa's Room, Attorney Melanie Little, Brian with LTL, Mike Crawford, Going Through the Motion, Sean Dude. God, there are so many of you. The Glairer, even people like the lawyer you know and Emily D. Baker. I don't really know. I mean, I haven't watched Emily D. Baker's coverage on this. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. And Spirit. folks. Hold on a second. My puppies are going crazy. Sorry, my puppies are going crazy right now. Okay, so, what was I saying? Oh, then I don't think that you're, until you and your family are affected by it, you're not going to truly understand how absolutely horrifying this must be for those families. I don't know how they still have any sort of mental health and are still able to continue to go to work and function after all of the shit that they have been through. And if anybody out there has ideas on how we can help these people, like the Alberts and the McCabes and the Proctors and obviously the O'Keefes, please let me know. I want to help in any way I can. I just literally, I'm reaching out to people that I know that could potentially help, but this is deep. This is like all of the shit going on with P. Diddy and the New York mayor and all this shit. Like, this is deep shit. Corruption is being rooted out in America. And you know what? It needs to be rooted out in Canton. And yes, there are some really bad officers there. But again, it is not the Karen Reed case. Josh Levy and whoever else was involved with his bullshit are the people that need to be indicted, in my opinion, in that area. Because that is some dirty ass shit. Again, what was your probable cause to go through Michael Proctor's phone? What was it, Josh Levy? Tell me what your actual fucking probable cause was to go through Michael Proctor's personal phone. Tell me, what was it? And how in the hell do you go and question state's witnesses in a murder investigation of an officer of Boston, Massachusetts, with news from Turtle, and news in air quotes, because it is not fucking news. And if you did any research, as you're supposed to be a very intelligent man, right? You're in the government. We're supposed to trust you. But you're going to trust some bullshit fucking blogger that is known for dirty tactics? And you're going to question state's witnesses using what he calls facts? Knowing full fucking well that those facts, in air quotes, came directly from Karen Reed and her defense? I mean, hello, corruption. You are a sick, sick man, and you should be in prison. You should be indicted, and I hope to God that you are, because it's disgusting what you have done to countless families, to young teenagers, to even younger children than that, to young adults starting college. You have affected so many lives by participating in this sham. It pisses me off.
When people started leaving rubber duckies around Canton with phrases that were written at the bottom of it, so like, Colin Albert did it, Colin was in that house, FKR for free Karen Reed, stuff like that. Just kind of like a harmless prank, I guess. I don't know how people came up with the idea or concept of the rubber duckies. Maybe you guys do. If you do, let me know. But some people have speculated because of what Alan Jackson has said, of if it looks like a duck and it talks like a duck, then it's a duck. So maybe that's the reason for the duckies. But nevertheless, this seems to be.
And let me educate y'all, because some of you younger generations, which Alexa's room, again, I don't know if you're literally participating in the grift on purpose to build your YouTube channel and you're not giving a shit about how many people you're affecting because you're just making a big joke out of all of this, or if you literally are not aware of how the legal system works, But there are many, this is a new generation coming up, and this is what they do. They're on social media all the time. And, we don't trust mainstream media. I don't trust mainstream media even more so after this sham of a trial. You want to know why? Because all you assholes were blaming the victim's family. Literally, I heard, and let me tell you, I sent some scathing emails to these fucking producers of these news stations who are supposed to give us facts, right? That's real journalism. You're supposed to get it from 3 separate sources to confirm that it is factual information. And you're sitting there, Vinnie Politan, you're one of the worst ones playing both sides of it. You know damn well that this woman is guilty. You know damn well that all this fake juror bullshit is just that. It's bullshit. You want to tell me that because Turtle Boy and Karen Reed's defense team are dirty as fuck, and the jury didn't understand how to fill out these forms, right? It said guilty or not guilty. Okay? So you're going to tell me that in the history of Massachusetts, this is the first time ever that people didn't quite understand how to fill out jury forms after the judge changed it to fit Jackson's freaking petulant bullshit childish tantrum that he had in the courtroom. She changed it for his ass. Okay? Just so that there wouldn't be any of this bullshit, because she sees this shit coming from a mile away with slimy attorneys that defend child molesters. 1 second. And so she obliged. Okay? So then, now all of a sudden, these highly intelligent jurors who wrote highly intelligent notes to the judge didn't know how to fill out the jury forms, didn't know that they couldn't ask questions, didn't understand how to check guilty or not guilty. This is another sham. It is constant false information put out by the defense. Okay, so younger generations, just so you fully understand this, prosecution does not come out and correct bullshit that is spread by defense lawyers pre-trial or in the middle of the trial or while we're waiting for a retrial. They are held to a different standard. They are not allowed to come out and say, this is fucking ridiculous and this is absolutely not true, and here is the proof for it. So just please keep that in mind, because all of this pretrial publicity is what they're using. Every time that Jackson and Yannetti went before Judge Bev for all of those pretrial motions, all of the shit that they did was to rile up the community. That is what their whole goal was. When they presented autopsy photos in court and Judge Bev was like, hell no. I heard so many people, on the side of Karen Reed have such a fit about that. That is disgusting behavior. Besides the fact that those pictures were completely photoshopped and made to look different than what they actually looked like. And as I said before, unless you were sitting in that courtroom and actually saw the photographs from the autopsy, you do not know what his actual wounds looked like, because Karen Reed, once again, sent those pictures out to Turtle Boy and Sean McDonough, is that his name, from going through the motions? this DEA agent who is completely dirty and or losing his mind or a little bit of both. I mean, I know he knows that she's guilty. So I don't understand how he has this career of working as an officer, a DEA agent for his entire life, and then goes and does all this corrupt shit. Does he have children and grandchildren that he cares about? That he wants to be a role model for? Because I don't understand this. So this is what I mean about educating the younger generations on how the courtroom works. This is all a big veil. And then you've got 2 years of all of this false information being fed out. And now you've got all these people. Guess what they're doing? They're standing outside of the courthouse every day while the actual trial is going on, holding their picket signs, drinking beer, making a fucking joke of the fact that this officer was murdered by his abusive, borderline personality, psychotic traits of a girlfriend. And guess what they're not doing? They are not listening to the evidence in the trial. And they are gaslighting, and they are bias confirmation. And do you know what gaslighting is, folks? It is literally turning shit around. Okay? Like, here's the best example. Alan Jackson says, look the other way. That's what the prosecution wants you to do. Look the other way. That is like the epitome of gaslighting, because that is exactly what the defense wants you to do. They want to confuse the shit out of the jury so that they are left there sitting thinking, what in the actual hell is going on? There is way too much flying around here. There are unhinged citizens screaming outside the courthouse. And as I've said before, there are clips of Rita specifically screaming, if this jury doesn't find her innocent, we are gonna have problems. Like, okay, but they weren't causing a ruckus at all, were they? Nope, they were just real sweet people. But if you actually found that Karen Reed was guilty, we were gonna have problems. What kind of problems, Rita, are we gonna have? I'd like to have a conversation with you about the kind of problems that we're gonna have. Because Karen Reed is as guilty as they come. And she is guilty of second-degree murder. You want to know why? Because, A, she knew she hit John. That probably won't be able to be brought out in court. There are some witnesses to that, however. So I'm hoping to her actual attorney saying that out loud at a bar. So I'm not really sure if Lally can get that witness. I don't know what the rules of evidence are as far as that's concerned, but there are more people that actually know that than just her attorneys. So I'm hoping, including her family, okay, especially her father. So hopefully those people are put on the stand. Karen Reed herself wants to claim innocence to everybody, shout it from every mountaintop, except when she's under oath and under the scrutiny of cross-examination. Ask yourselves, folks, if you were factually innocent and you were factually being set up by a dirty, corrupt prosecution, would you put yourself on the stand and say, I didn't do it and I have nothing to hide and I am not scared of anything, because any question that you throw at me, I can honestly answer truthfully because I am innocent. I am screaming it from every mountaintop. But I'm not going to go on the stand. Why? Why, America? Why, Aussie Insider? Why, Miss Shorty, all of y'all in Australia and the UK that think that she's innocent? I mean, it's such a frickin' sham.
Came up with the idea or concept of the rubber duckies. Maybe you guys do. If you do, let me know. But some people have speculated because of what Alan Jackson has said, of if it looks like a duck and it talks like a duck, then it's a duck. So maybe that's the reason for the duckies. But nevertheless, this seems to be a grave concern for.
Yeah, I'm really wondering if Alan Jackson is going to be back after all of his inappropriate behavior. And I really hope to see a lot of things happen. And again, I know the wheels of justice turn slowly, but both Alan Jackson, Yannetti, and Little have committed fraud on the court. They need to go before the bar and answer to that. Alan Jackson, at the very least, if not both of the guys, were inappropriate with their client. We only have proof of the one, and I guess you could say it's not really proof, but nobody grabs a woman from behind like that without it being inappropriate. It just doesn't happen. I'm sure Alan Jackson's wife had some things to say about that. They're still claiming Jackson is coming back. I'm highly doubting Jackson is coming back. Nurse Kim said today that Dave, Nurse Kim's partner on the little Nurse Kim and Dave show, said that he got information that the new special prosecutor is going to drop the murder 2 charge. But I don't believe that. Okay, I'm sorry. This is why I don't like to go live, because I have things happen that I can't control and can't edit out. But and so I hope to God that they don't drop the murder 2 charge, because she literally knew that she hit him. She started building her alibi right away. She probably didn't know that he was dead, but she knew that she heard him. She knew that he wasn't answering his phone. As soon she started calling him right away, and he wasn't answering his phone. I personally think she saw him. That's my own personal opinion, because if she did a 3-point turn, which she initially claimed that she did, and then we gotta not push that story. That text is out there for you to find as well, to Turtle Boy. We don't need to push the 3-point turn. Why? Because you know that you saw him in the yard after you mowed him down. Yeah, that's why. Beyond that, she left him out there. She took zero action to help him. She didn't go in the house to get help. She didn't call 911 to get help. She drove back to John's house, which John had already told her to leave, which the niece testified to, and their relationship was over. She wasn't supposed to be going there. Personally, I believe that's trespassing, which in most cases of murder, you add trespassing, burglary, any other sort of felony charge, and that's even more time. So I personally, again, I don't know that you could prove that, except, the niece's testimony said she wasn't supposed to. John had asked her to leave, had said that their relationship ran its course. and he was done. I don't know how much more clear you can get that leave my house. I don't want you here anymore. We are over. God, it's just ridiculous to me. So I cannot believe that they would drop that charge, because I think when the evidence is presented in a much more crisp, clear way, there's no question that they meet that third prong. Rennie. Sorry, my bubbles. Okay, so, let's see.
The law enforcement in Massachusetts. And it greatly upset the McCabes and the Alberts, who were witnesses in the Karen Reed case, who immediately called it witness intimidation. And it's so funny because there's so many people out there that are like, this is defamation and harassment and yada, yada, yada. Well, if it was defamation, don't you think they would have sued for defamation?
Guess what? I'm just going to call you Alexa. I know that's not your name, but they will. They're in the process of doing that with Karen Reed right now. Turtle Boy has, I don't know, 19 charges against him. Federally, I believe at least 16 federal charges, if not more. So suing him may not be very lucrative, and you have to kind of, in order for a lawyer to take somebody's case to a civil lawsuit of defamation, there has to be some form of property or money that they can actually get so that the attorney can get paid. Otherwise, they're just working pro bono. So I'm sure that there are things happening behind the scenes in regard to the fact that they are illegally raising money. They are illegally raising money in Officer John O'Keefe's name, which I'm sure Paul and the rest of the family are also in conversations with, to their attorney. There will be lawsuits to anybody that continues to do this bullshit and that actually has something that they can take away that is worth some sort of monetary value. If somebody sued somebody that doesn't have any money, there's not much point in suing them. Other than the fact that, well, there really isn't any, because the attorney's not going to take it on unless they're a family friend that's willing to do it for free, which I don't know many people that would be willing to do that. So yeah, there will be lawsuits. Again, this stuff takes time, and they're building evidence. Every single time that Turtle Boy talks about this shit on his blog, every time you talk about it, every time Attorney Melanie Little talks about it, every time Sean McDonough talks about it, every time Duty Ron talks about it, every time LTL Brian talks about it, every time Mike Crawford talks about it, you think that shit isn't being recorded and listened to? I personally hope the feds are involved in that side of it. I hope they are investigating. They damn well should be investigating. But again, those of you that still believe that the feds are involved in the case in the defense of Karen Reed, I don't know how many different ways that this can be explained, so make it very clear to you all. The feds are done investigating any sort of corruption in the Karen Reed case as far as the prosecution goes. When they handed over their 3,000 some odd pages to both the Commonwealth and the defense, That was the end of their investigation. I just heard attorney Melanie Little say once again on her show yesterday that the feds are still involved, and that's an outright lie. And you know why they can get away with that shit? Because the feds don't come out on national television and say, hey, we're done investigating. Just an FYI, we're done. Game over. You know how we know that they're done? They turned over their report. And in one of the pretrial motions before the trial started, it was brought out directly from Judge Bev asking, is anybody in the Commonwealth under investigation a target of this investigation? And the answer was no. That was before the trial, folks. And once again, the defense is the one that asked that all of the federal investigation be sealed. Go back and watch the pretrial stuff, folks. If you don't believe me, you don't have to. It is recorded and it is on the news. Okay? They are the ones that asked for it to be sealed. Why? If the federal investigation was there to expose corruption against Karen Read, why in the hell would Karen Read's defense team want that sealed? The feds are not investigating any sort of corruption on the side of the Commonwealth as far as Karen Read is concerned. I sure as shit hope that the feds are now involved investigating Josh Levy for sending them on this wild goose chase, as well as her attorneys, as well as anybody else that could be involved in this, as well as obviously Aiden Kearney, aka Turtle Boy, because he's under federal indictment. I seriously don't understand why that man is not in jail waiting for his trial. I really don't. I don't know how or why Massachusetts law does not consider his bullshit podcast where he continues to spread lies a violation of his ability, of his bail. I don't understand that. Like, he's still doing the same shit. How is that not a violation of his bail? That shit, he should be in jail. I would like a lawyer to explain to me why that bail has not been revoked when he is out there doing the same shit that he was indicted for in the first place. I really want to understand that because it blows my freaking mind. He is causing more havoc.
If what he's writing and reporting about them isn't in fact true, I'm just saying. I'm just...
Again, I don't know if you're young and you don't understand, or that's my guess, that you don't understand. So let me help you understand. It is untrue. And if there is anything of monetary value and it is worth anybody's time, there will be lawsuits. But the man is under federal indictment. He will likely be going to prison for hopefully the rest of his life, quite frankly. Now, I've said this before a million times, and I'll say this again as well. I hope that all eyes are paying close attention to what happens with Aiden Kearney's trial. Because my big concern, he is acting with such impunity. It really concerns me that that guy is being protected by Josh Levy or somebody that has power. And that shit freaks me out. And that shit needs to be watched because it just cannot continue. All of this crap that's happening in Canton directly affects This is a reflection of what is happening in America. Okay? People don't trust the government. Look at all of the crap that's coming out. I'm not going to get into a political conversation because I'm a total hippie chick and I stay as far away from politics as I possibly can. But there are some things that they're just so, it is political. Okay? This shit is political. And of course, with all this other shit, with P. Diddy and the mayor of New York and all, God knows how many other people are going to get exposed in that I mean, this shit is deep. So, we need to root out corruption. But we need to be sure where that corruption is before we start screaming corruption. It is very apparent that in the Karen Read case, the corruption is on the side of the defense. So if all of y'all screaming justice for Karen Read equals justice for John O'Keefe, that means that Karen Read goes to prison. That is justice for John O'Keefe. And that is probably the thing that pisses me off the most, is that you are fucking using that man's name in vain. You are literally trying to defend that man's murderer by using his name. You are raising money for his murderer's defense team by using his name. And I bet your ass that his family has some shit to say about that. But you know what else his family has to do? They have to continue living their lives. They have to go to work. They have to provide for their family. They have to put food on the table. They have 2 young teenagers now that 2 senior citizens are now raising that have school and athletics and extracurricular activities that I'm just can't even imagine. So their focus needs to not be on all this noise, which is why people like me get so fucking pissed off, because I know how much shit that they're dealing with. They don't have time to sit and fight this machine that is continually shitting on them. So if I can help, and if anybody else in the world can help get to the actual factual truth and put the actual factual criminals behind bars and try to find some semblance of justice for this family that has lost 2 adult children, I mean, it is so infuriatingly sad that so many people are pushing this narrative, that are literally being so beyond rude to John O'Keefe's family. Paul O'Keefe did one interview, and I fucking lost my shit when I saw people reviewing that interview. People like LTL Brian. People like Truth and Transparency. People like Turtle Boy. Saying shit like, oh, these are just softballs that they're throwing at Paul. She's just such a softball interviewer. This is the victim's brother. He was not under interrogation, you assholes. You fucking assholes. This was not an interrogation of Paul O'Keefe. This was a holy shit, take a deep breath. We have been through 2 years of bullshit. Now we end up in a mistrial. How are you feeling? What do you think you can do as a family? Where are your next steps? What can we do to help you? This was not a police interrogation of his brother. And the way that I saw people critiquing his brother's very first interview, and again, let me tell you how much grace the O'Keefes have. Because I don't even know these people, and I am sitting here cussing and discussing this shit like it's my own brother. Because I'm an empath and that's just how I roll. And I do fight for justice. And when I see injustices in the world, it fucking pisses me off. And I want to bring light to those dark nooks and crannies of bullshit when it is affecting beautiful families like the O'Keefe family. These are blue-collar, hard-working, wonderful morals and values. I'm a farm girl, okay? So, like, these folk are right up my alley. Again, I don't know them, but they sure as shit seem to be the type of people that work hard, come home, spend time with their family, love their family hard, like to go out on the weekends and have a good time. And, like, that's what their life is. Working hard, playing hard, loving hard. And they are being thrown under the bus day after day after day. And everybody that loved John, all of those state's witnesses, day after day after day, it is disgusting. And at this point, folks, stop pleading ignorance. You cannot plead ignorance anymore. The facts are out. There are more facts that are out than were even brought out in court, which hopefully more facts can be brought out. I watch these fucking grifters where something comes out. This 227 thing, they're still talking about it like it's a fact. I literally just saw Betterow on Melanie Little the other day talking about it like the prosecution, the Commonwealth still hadn't proved it. Betterow says, bring me an expert that clarifies whether or not this happened at 2:27 or 6:30, because both sides of, it was just confusing. And Melanie Little, in all her infinite wisdom, I'm sorry, but Melanie Little, you are not an intelligent person. And you play dumb really well. Let me just say that. Okay, because you're like, yeah, it was so confusing. She does this little mouth thing where she has her lips just a little bit apart like that. That's her trying to look younger, look thinner. Like, it is so disgusting. I literally want to punch her in the face. If you are confused by the fact that they had a woman that, like, is probably one of the top in her field that does technology work. I don't know what you call it. I'm not a cellular type of person. I'm not a techie. But this woman has experience with like, I can't remember if she said CIA and stuff, but like, she is beyond credible, first of all. And then second of all, Mark Betterow, if you missed it, Melanie Little, if you missed it, the actual expert from Celebrate, which I literally called you out on before about going on, what's his name, Colin, I can't remember his name. You had said some shit about, you had said that the state was gonna,
funny because you're so,
you had said that the state was gonna try to disprove Celebrate, right? Well, guess what? The state brought in Celebrate. The state brought in the man that had to rewrite the fucking code for the program so that idiot asshole attorneys that know damn well that a wall file is not when a window was opened. It is just that a wall file. So to make that in very layman's terms, all y'all, when you open up your Google, you do a search on your Google on your phone, and then you close it out and you go do something else on your phone. If you don't clear that off of your phone, I use a Galaxy, so I push my little button on the bottom left corner, and it gives me everything, and I have to clear it all. If I don't do that, those pages are still open. And if I go back in there and Google something else, that Google search at the time of this shit, when Karen Reed's defense team was plotting this ridiculous behavior, they claimed that when that page was originally opened the night before, when Jennifer McCabe was looking up her daughter's basketball, they claim that that's when the Google search was done, when she opened up the same Google bar the next morning, trying to do what Karen was screaming at her to do, which, by the way, Karen also said in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, okay, was that, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? I don't know what I'm going to do. And then the person in the ambulance said, well, it seems like you have a really good support system. Well, nobody that knows Carrie Roberts would say that. She's shit-talking one of John's best friends while John is being transferred to the hospital, hoping beyond all hope that he could be still alive. This is the type of person that you're supporting. She says, I can't take care of the kids. She's worried about, this woman, I'm not a psychologist, but this woman has psychopathy ways of thinking. She does not think about anybody but herself. She worries about only herself, how she's going to get away with what she needs to get away with. She doesn't give a shit if you're on fire. She would not piss on you to put it out. She would walk by and cackle.
Many people out there that are like, this is defamation and harassment and yada, yada, yada. Well, if it was defamation, don't you think they would have sued for defamation if what he's writing and reporting about them isn't in fact true? I'm just saying.
Again, yes, they will. If it's worth it. If he doesn't go to prison for the rest of his life. If they can get all the money back that he has raised in their son's name. That would be quite lovely, and I hope that they can do that.
I'm just saying, but instead they go for witness intimidation, and now they've slapped witness intimidation charges on these people who are just putting rubber duckies around Kenton, and it's as funny as it is.
It's not funny, first of all, and it's not innocent. You literally just said that they wrote shit on the bottom of it like Colin Elbert did it. Once again, calling a young adult a murderer and putting these things all around the city that he lives in and where his father works. This is what I don't understand. If it was me, I am not a violent person, but oh man, I don't know if I would have been able to stop myself from actually punching these people in the faces. And none of them have yet. And I think that actually somebody brought it up where they said this is going to escalate to violence, meaning they are being so cruel to me that I may punch these fucking assholes and beat them to a bloody pulp because they are calling people that I love murderers of a person that I also loved. That's the kind of grace that this family has. And every time that Paul says something that he says out of anger, people fucking attack him. Again, I don't understand where the empathy in society is for this family. These people have been victimized over and over and over and over and over and over again. And yet you continue to carry water for the people who are victimizing them, and you are actually victimizing them by putting this shit out and laughing about it like it's a fucking joke.
Kind of scary that people in power can do stuff like this.
It's kind of scary that people in power can pull the kind of shenanigans that Josh Levy did. Because you know what this is, Alexa? This is a fucking domestic violence, hit and run, Karen Reed saw red because she has no control over her emotions, which is a symptom of borderline personality, where she cannot control her impulses. She got pissed off that John told her to kick rocks, and she fucking ran him over. 75% of her pedal was pushed. Her car was going in drive. She threw it into reverse. She had 75% of her pedal to the metal for 62 feet at 24 miles per hour. That's second-degree murder right there. That is knowingly doing something that could cause great bodily injury and or death. You want second degree? There it is. You want more proof of second degree? She starts calling the man 5 minutes after she leaves, telling him that nobody knows where he is, calling him all kinds of names, doing all sorts of bullshit that only a psychotic person would do, because she's that ridiculous that she's trying to cover her tracks by being pissed, because people are going to know that they were fighting, so she's playing that up. Okay? And then she gets to his house, calls her daddy, starts looking for a lawyer, figures out her taillight's broken, still continues to call him 64 times. He never picks up the phone. She doesn't fucking go back over there and help him. She doesn't go back over there and ask people in the house if he's okay. She doesn't call 911. You know what else she doesn't do in the next morning when she does find him? Supposedly found him in air quotes. You know what she doesn't do? She doesn't fucking ask, what the hell happened here? What happened after I dropped him off? How did this happen? Who did this to my man? What is going on? You know why she didn't do it? Because she knew damn well that she did it. And she wasn't quite clever enough to think on her feet about blaming anybody in the moment, because she knew she was guilty as a motherfucker. And anybody that has actually listened to what has happened here knows that she is guilty. You think her taillight broke the same night that John died just by accident? Those of you that want to still continue to claim that she broke it on John's Jeep, it's like you have selective hearing. Once again, you're just ignorant. The one thing that ARCA did that was good, that they were actually honest about, was that, no, that taillight would not crack going 1 mile per hour in reverse and bumping into a vehicle behind her, which of course bumpers are going to prevent that from happening in the first place, but we'll pretend that they don't have bumpers on either vehicle and the two vehicles make direct contact at their, light, and it just cracks going 1 mile an hour, right? But yet those same people that are saying that are claiming that an elbow, a bone on a human body, could not break that taillight because it's so strong. But bumping a vehicle by accident, let me ask y'all, how many of you have accidentally love tapped a vehicle in your life? Did you break any of your fucking lights when you did it? Yeah, I didn't think so. I really hope that the Commonwealth, and especially this new special prosecutor, gets ARCA on board, because ARCA needs to also be called out on this shit. They literally said that their opinion will change with any new evidence, but then they got up on the stand and said that none of the actual evidence from the black box in the vehicle, from the DNA, none of that shit would change their mind. You know why? Because they were there to do a job. For Josh Levy and for Karen Reed and for her attorneys. So I really hope that this special prosecutor calls them out and says, you know what? I'd like you to do your actual job with the actual evidence that you are world renowned for doing, the best in the business, But I want you to look at the evidence. I want you to actually do what it is that you do, rather than doing Josh Levy's bidding. Because that's bullshit. It's disgusting.
Innocent to their people that they're supposed
I've already talked too much, but let me see what
to be serving and to protect. So this is a picture tweet from somebody who's like, Karen Reed's good friend is harassing a witness in her case because they're leaving. This is textbook witness intimidation. It's pressuring a witness to say what Karen wants to help her case. Meanwhile, it's like Karen Reed has nothing to do with any of this. You think Karen Reed's like, Alan Jackson, Yannetti, I got it.
Yes, Karen Reed has everything to do with this. She is the one. I'm going to say this and I'm going to get off because I just can't. Like I said, it blows my mind because I cannot figure out if people are choosing to plead ignorance, are unwittingly being ignorant, if they're evil enough to continue to push this bullshit through. Like, I don't know that it's worth my time to combat these people because they're clearly either not intelligent or choose to be ignorant on the topic, because anybody that can like have any sort of critical thinking can put two and two together on what happened that evening. And I don't know what it's going to take. I'd like to ask you, Alexa, what would you need to see to believe that Karen Reed is innocent or is guilty? What would you need to see to prove to your brain that Karen Reed is guilty? And I put that to all of you that believe in her innocence. What would you need to see? Do you need an actual video of her backing into John? Because if that's what you need, then you're really ridiculous. Because do you know how many crimes are prosecuted every day without video evidence of the crime being committed? It is called circumstantial evidence. All of the data proves that Karen Reed did this. All of the evidence proves that Karen Reed did this. Are there going to be little things here and there that might be a minute off or that don't quite make sense? Just little tiny things? Of course there are, because unless we were there, we will never know those little tiny things. But detectives do what detectives do, and they put shit together to create a case to put people in prison. If we needed actual video evidence of every criminal action that takes place in our country to put people behind bars, do you want to know how many people would never be convicted? Our jails would be empty. It's fucking ridiculous. So tell me, what do y'all need to prove to you that Karen Reed is guilty? Because there is every single piece of evidence leads to Karen Reed. And I was going to say one more thing.
We must unleash the hounds. And
I forgot. Oh, yes. Okay. So yes, Karen Reed is absolutely the one pulling the strings. She is giving directions to everybody. All of the creators that I've named are all being directed. Maybe not directly from her. I'm sure that they've, got some buffer zones now after they got called out with Turtle Boy and her communicating, which they're like, oh, yeah, that's totally normal. Again, why is that evidence not being able to be brought into Karen Reed's trial? I don't understand it. It's direct evidence. I think it's probably because they're going to charge Karen Reed separately on federal indictments for witness intimidation, just like they did Turtle Boy. But they're waiting for her murder trial to be done before they indict her on all of that shit. So either way, the woman should be going to prison for the rest of her life. And if she doesn't, then we've got bigger fish to fry in Massachusetts when it comes to corruption. And Josh Levy is at the helm. So I implore all of you to actually think about the kind of world that you want your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and fur babies and anybody that you love and care about, what kind of a world do you want to leave for those people? What kind of justice do you want to stand up for? Do you want to stand up for victims of murder and other disgusting crimes? Or do you want to support murderers and people who call themselves journalists who don't do anything of the sort? They literally spread lies. They don't do any sort of investigation. They don't vet any of their information. They literally take their cues from a murderer and her team. Just ask yourselves, what kind of person do you want to be? Because your soul is the only thing that can make up your mind for yourself. That's it. I am trying to help in any way I can by bringing this to light. But again, I don't know if it's even, like, is it worth my time? Do people out there really not understand this? Do people who really want to understand it and are trying to understand it truly not understand it? Because those are the people that I would like to talk to. Those of you that are choosing to plead ignorance and are choosing to cry out and fit into this cult because you're claiming to be fighting corruption, go fight corruption with the Sandra Birchmore case. That's corruption. That's disgusting. That family needs your help. Karen Reed is guilty of murder. She is guilty of witness intimidation. She is guilty of feeding false information to a so-called journalist who is really a humongous POS, who is spreading rumors and ruining countless lives in that community. And if this continues, I am very nervous for that community. It is already so divided, and it is on the verge of destroying itself. And all of y'all that don't live there, who are like Alexa, who is laughing about this shit, and who these people Mazza Media and Turtle Boy keep calling into these Canton meetings pretending to be citizens of that community and making a fucking mockery of the things that actually need to be discussed, the things that are actually important in that community, making an absolute mockery of it. And this is entertainment. It is not funny. It is not entertainment. And it is not anything that should be taken lightly at all. I think that more good people need to stand up and say, we are not going to take this anymore. The only way for evil to win is for good men to do nothing. Please, people, think about how you are affecting your own energy, the energy of the people that you love, and the community around you. And spread light and love. I love you all. Mwah. I don't know how to end this.